Scott sent in a tricky question about music rights for video of a stage production. Hi, I'm attorney Gordon Firemark, and this is Asked and Answered, where I answer your entertainment law questions to help you take your career and business in the entertainment industry to the next level. Okay, so here's what Scott wrote. I create and tour original visual theater. We tour internationally, and in every contract, the producer or the venue pays the ASCAP or other performing rights society fee for the music that is used in our performances. However, if one were to record a performance and make it available online for sale, who would the international fees be paid to for the video rights to the 20 or so snippets of music in the performance? And how would one go about getting the rights to use those snippets of music? Well, Scott, first off, I have to say that based on what you're describing, I'm not 100% certain that the venues paying ASCAP or similar kinds of licenses is enough to get the rights for what you're doing. You see, those performing rights organizations only license so-called small performing rights, concerts, coffee houses, radio airplay, and things like that, and not grand rights that are involved when music is an integral part of a stage production, where the music sort of helps move the storyline and characters forward. It's possible that they're in small rights territory if the show is fairly sparse on plot, storyline, costumes, lights, etc. But it's also possible that they really need grand rights for what they're doing. Now, grand rights licenses are negotiated directly with the music publishers who own and administer the songs. But that's not what Scott asked. To use the music in video, you also need to directly license each piece of music from the publishers that own them. The license you need is called a synchronization license, which authorizes you to synchronize the song with pictures and dialogue and that kind of stuff. And if you're using existing recordings of the music, you also need a master use license from the record company that owns the recording you're using. You don't need that for the live part, but you do for any video or filming that you do. Now, to add to the hassle, many songs are administered by multiple publishers. Each songwriter's interest might be handled by a different company, for example. So you might have to chase down 3 or 4, or I've even seen 9 and 11 publishers in some instances. These licenses aren't automatically approved either. Publishers usually have to secure approval from the songwriters themselves before licensing for these kinds of uses. The songwriters, or their heirs, that is, sometimes they have weird views about these things, so publishers are going to ask for a lot of information about the intended use. They're going to want to know context and see the script pages where the song appears, ask for the duration of the piece used, the nature of how it's being used, and then they'll quote a price for the use. Licenses are usually done on what we call a favored nations basis, so the highest quote will set the bar for all of the music in the piece. Now, this can be a tremendously time-consuming process, so you'll want to leave plenty of time to do it. Here's what that process looks like. 1. Research to identify who holds the rights to each song. Then, prepare and send a quote request. Sometimes it's just a form, sometimes it's a letter asking for the rights you need. You're sending that to each of the rights holders involved. And then you wait for approval and a quote. Finally, you sign a license agreement and you pay the fees or royalties, and then you go ahead and use the music. But here's the other wrinkle. Because you're now revealing the nature of the show to these publishers that you're asking, they are also going to be asking the question about whether you're in grand rights territory or whether the ASCAP BMI performing rights organization things are sufficient for the live aspect of what you're doing. So be careful, and that's going to do it for this session of Asked and Answered. Do you have a question I can answer here? Visit firemark.com/questions, and I'll see you real soon.